Why has the church declined? It depends on what church you go to. As Protestant churches have seen a decrease in attendance the past couple of decades, we can look elsewhere and see exponential growth in non-denominational churches. While researching my topic, I have come across many different articles and graphs from different sources. This one is from ChristianityToday.com, where it says, and I quote, "Over the past 4 decades, there has been a 400% growth in Protestants who now identify as non-denominational." In this essay, we will be looking and discussing at the difference between Protestants, traditional churches, and non-denominational churches, and the pros and cons both churches bring. Traditional churches, such as Protestants, have been around for centuries and will continue to grow, not as much as other churches, but generations will continue to fill in the pews and spread the word of God. The same report from the Southern Baptist Convention shows that the church has been on the decline for the past 8 years straight. Non-denominational churches. Non-denominational churches have seen a rise in population over the past couple of decades, especially since the early 2000s. The non-denominational church grew from approximately 200,000 in 1990 and are well over 8 million by 2008. This number has grown since then. And with no affiliation with the Protestant groups, that is just non-denominational. Now, I went to a non-denominational church when I was in South Georgia, and there was quite a few down there, and each church had 2 to 3 services and small groups afterwards. There was an average of 1,500 people in the church. There are pros and cons to both churches. Some pros to a traditional church are they are generational. They have traditions and structure that you and your grandparents and your parents probably grew up with. Some of the cons are they are not a very diverse population, and they do not have different ethnicities as well. There are typically African American Baptist churches and Caucasian churches. You do not typically see a church that is Protestant that is a combined mix of them. They also use more hymns and are very structured, and they do not typically play praise and worship music. Some pros to the non-denominational churches. They are a church that are pretty much come as you are. The appearances don't matter to them. More diverse congregations and more accepting of today's cultures as well. This can also be a good and a bad thing. They are not focused on practices and religion, but they are more worried about the relationship between you and God. Cons to the non-denominational church is you may feel like a number. Like I said, there was 2 services, 1,500 people at this church. If you do not find your group, you will kind of feel like you just don't belong and you're an outcast. They don't really connect and have congregations and meetings like the smaller churches do. In conclusion, both the churches, the traditional and non-denominational, are both great churches. I've been a part of both of them. I'm speaking as well from experience. They have the exact same message and mission, which is to glorify and honor God and expand His kingdom. Like I said, I have experienced both of these churches, and there are advantages and disadvantages to both of them. My final thought for this is we are so fortunate to be able to serve God in a country, no matter what your ethnicity or race or religion is. It's awesome to be able to share your faith and not be prosecuted for it or persecuted for it, should I say. And that is just one liberty that I think we definitely take for granted. Thank you.